This is a response to findings of a task force on the scholarship and pending bills. On Thursday, November 3rd, 2022, Governor Ken Makelo Lusaka released what he termed as findings of 3 task forces: 1 education scholarship audit, 2 human resource audit, and 3 pending bills audit. I wish to respond to the substantive findings raised in the reports on 1 scholarships and 2 pending bills. I'll be issuing a comprehensive statement on the human audit report next week once the findings of my team are done. 1. The scholarship fund. Background. The first cohort of the scholarship fund joined Form 1 in 2018 and sat their KCSE in 2022. Out of 502 beneficiaries, some 407 students scored a C+ and above, making it to the university and other middle-tier colleges. As a matter of fact, some of our best students have joined some of the best universities in the US and in the UK. For the 4 years, none of our students was sent home for none or delayed payment of school fees for the last 4 years that I was in the office. By April 2022, the program had enrolled its 5th cohort with some 7,000 needy students picked for Form 1 admission. This brought the total number of students on the scholarship fund over the 5 years to 10,000 students. For purposes of equity, the students were always identified and picked at village unit level in each ward in a process that was open, transparent, and which often allowed participation of the local community to corroborate details submitted by applicants. Names of all these students, contact persons, their parents, their guardians, and schools admitted to are found at each of the 45 ward offices in the county and at the head office in the Department of Education and Vocational Training. Issues raised by the task force. While the report raises several issues, including questions of procedure, however, I will limit myself to the substantive statements that money may have been lost in the process. 1. That the ward committees were unlawfully constituted. It is not true. The members of the executive chaired ward committees, none whatsoever. They participated in the process during home visitations only as ex-officio members of the committee. Due to the number of applicants involved and the fact that this was too important a task, we needed everybody's hands on the deck. Former President Uhuru Kenyatta used all cabinet secretaries to supervise NEC exams. President William Ruto is relying on several cabinet secretaries and senior state officers in the country's response to drought and hunger. 2, that the process of identifying the beneficiaries was flawed and that undeserving cases were awarded scholarships to the disadvantage of the deserving cases. The process of vetting is vigorous and involves home visitations. With the help of primary school heads, some of the very needy cases who may not even know of the existence of scholarship are flagged, guided to apply for scholarship immediately after the release of KCP results. Even in cases where some applicants give false information, members of the public have often volunteered information that necessitated double-checking without the task force giving a list of names of students classified as undeserving, the wards they come from, and the schools admitted to. It is hard to vouch for the credibility of their findings. I may repeat this. Without the task force giving a list of names of students classified as undeserving, the wards they come from, and the schools admitted to, it is hard to vouch for the credibility of their findings. Lest we forget, over the last 5 years, that residents fully appreciated the existence of any form of educational support in Bungoma County, including bursaries and scholarships. Unlike in the past, where access to bursaries was a privilege of a few connected people, for the very first time during my time in office, NEET cases sat their KCPE exams fully aware that indeed there was help, if any, and when they posted great results. Their parents, guardians knew where to get that help and how to apply. Is this what anybody can describe as lacking in transparency? Hardly. Granted, there have been a few isolated cases that made it to the list using false documents. But we discontinued the scholarship immediately. We established the truth that some 70 students have been transferred by their former schools continue to receive funds. This is only possible in case of the currently Form 1s and in a first term. Know that students apply for scholarship based on the schools they were admitted to immediately following the release of KCPE results. Several, however, seek transfer to schools other than those admitted to. When this happens, we have always advised parents, guardians at the point of selection that they furnish the Department of Education with an admission letter to the new school. However, not all parents always acted on this promptly. For purposes of proper reconciliation, we always relied on returns from schools after closure of admission and first term report cards whose copies are delivered to the county ward offices. In cases where records capture a student as being in one school, when in fact they are in another, we make a communication to the same effect to both schools. One such case was a young girl mistakenly admitted to Teremi by the system, but who eventually ended up at Cardinal Otunga High School. With the communication, Teremi High School issued a check to Cardinal Otunga girls in respect of this student. The practice, however, has been that after reconciliation, extra funds are normally redistributed to offset the outstanding balances. No funds are lost. 4, that the county continued to pay fees for 18 students whose parents had paid their fees in full. Indeed, this can only happen when a student picked on scholarship is taken to a school other than the one captured at vetting. If there is no communication to the effect that the student was transferred to another school, the student's first term fee will be sent to schools in the record in the department. That is until the department has returns on admission of students from schools and the report cards from students. Most times when this happens, the new schools admit the students on the basis of the scholarship award letter and write to the department in respect to students whose funds have ended up in a different school. This is more of a question of procedure rather than loss of funds. 5, that the county paid fees for 11 students whose fees had been fully paid by other sponsors. When KCPE results are released, needy cases make a dash for several scholarship opportunities available, including Equity's Wings to Fly, Coop Bank, KCB, Family Bank, the national government's Elim scholarship, and the county's own scholarship. Usually there is enough time to reconcile and compare notes with other entities. The 5th cohort, however, presented unique challenges to the short period between the release of results, applications, award of scholarships, and reporting time to school. The pupils sat their KCPE exams in March. Results were out in April, and in May, Form 1 were required to have reported to high school. Some parents did communicate the fact that their children had been picked for other scholarships, a result of which support to the children was reallocated to other needy cases. Many others did not communicate, and the department was relying on returns from schools to identify and reconcile list of county-sponsored beneficiaries per school. Instead of casting aspersions on a life-changing program, Honorable Lusaka should know that governments run in perpetuity, and reconciliation of numbers from school return should have been done during his first week in his office. That he did not reflect on his ability to honor and continue with the program or not. 6. That some 19 million shillings may have been lost to ghost students. This is by far the most outrageous, scandalous allegation that I've ever had. If the finding was not a hurried afterthought, the task force should have established that all the cases they refer to as ghost students were in fact selected to those specific schools by the Ministry of Education's nemesis system. I repeat this. This is by far the most outrageous and scandalous allegation that I've never had. If the finding was not a hurried afterthought, the task force would have established that all the cases they refer to as ghost students were in fact selected to those specific schools by the Ministry of Education NEMIS system. A little more investigation would have revealed that each of the said student scholarship application form was supported by, among things, an admission letter to a high school which was issued not by the county government, by the Ministry of Education and printed from the NEMIS portal. At what point did they become ghost students? When they were selected by NEMIS system for various schools, or when they were awarded scholarships by the county. A task force using taxpayers. A quick check through 2 of the mentioned schools reveals the following. We just checked among the 2 schools, that is Kibabi High School and Kibuku Girls. We sampled 5 students that they are referring to as ghost students. One of the students by the name of Mark Wanjala Musamali, coming from Naitiri Kabyefe ward, he was initially selected to go to Kibabi High School. He ended up, as we speak now, he's in Malava Boys. Alan Kiboi from Elgon ward, initially he was supposed to go to Kajiado High School as his first choice, and I think his second choice was Kibabi High School. He is now at St. Joseph's Kangemi High School. Thirdly, Potiphar Kibukurui from Cheskaki ward, initially under the NEMIS system, he was selected to go to St. Mary's High School. He is now at Cheptais Boys High School. Samuel W. Wamalwa from West Nalondo ward, initially was selected to go to Kibabi High School. He is now at St. Luke's Kimilili Boys High School. 5th, Fred Regan from Bokoli ward, was initially first choice Bungoma, and I think second was Kibabi. Now he's at Malava Boys. Kibuku Girls, we have also sampled 5 students whom are referred to as ghost students. Area chief, a simple call to any of these contact person would have traced the said student not just to their homes, but also to schools they eventually joined. If such efforts were made, the task force would have realized that these are students awarded scholarship on the basis of the initial school selected to, but transferred to another school. Calling them ghost students is a case giving a dog a bad name to justify its killing. Basically, you want to kill the scholarship program. First, a finding that the county may have lost up to 19 million to ghost students actually assumes that all the year's fees due to each of the identified schools have been paid. Up to until June, only the first term fees had been paid, and the balance was due to be cleared in August with the start of a new financial year from a 400 million allocation, which we allowed for in the budget. What I'm trying to say is that when they spoke about 19 million shillings, it assumes that we had paid the entire fees. We have paid, I think, on average about 20,000 shillings per student. There is an additional 15,000 per student that is still outstanding. To date, only the amount of the 400 million, we allowed for her 400 million shillings. In the budget, only 200 million has been disbursed. Secondly, the task force got the fee structure of some of the schools wrong A full year's fee at Cardinal Tunga Girls is Kenya shillings 35,000, not 45,000 as captured in the report. The cases they refer to as co-students are in fact those awarded scholarship on the basis of the admission letter to one school but transferred to yet another without communicating to the Department of Education. My remarks on this scholarship report. This report, one, is no more than a shadow political script designed to achieve a selfish motive, to push an unfortunate narrative aimed at killing the scholarship scheme. If this report is not true, where is the Kenya shillings 200 million of the 400 million we had allocated to clear this year's fees for the beneficiaries? Why are scholarship beneficiaries at home when schools are in session and in fact heading towards end of year exams? The report is aimed at diverting the public's attention from Lusaka's own record as governor in charge and his responsibility to work for the people of Bungoma. Politics is over, and the people of Bungoma want to know where and how to access trade loans as you promised. To bandy numbers around, to trade in hearsay and drag the names of schools through the mud without making efforts to get the correct picture hurts the reputation of schools, their management, and careers of hard-working Kenyans. What the people of Bungoma needed was not shallow audit reports hurriedly put together. As residents, we needed a task force to find out how Lusaka will keep his promise to give scholarships to every child who scores 90 marks and above. That is what he promised the people of Bungoma. Pending bills. That payments were made to what appeared to be non-existent existent road projects. Is it ironical that a task force formed to look into pending bills, value money, and project delivery actually sat down to write a report on the basis of photographs? I have been governor for 5 years. I can tell you that I had so much to do that I did not have time to attend to everything, but I never assessed the state of any project from photographs. I always visited a project, wanted to inspect wherever it was. Here is a task force whose only remit was to assess projects on the ground vis-a-vis payments, choosing to stay in the hotels, eating sausages, and looking at photographs to write a report instead of visiting site. This is too shoddy a report to comment upon. My only comment is that this is not the best way to use taxpayers' money, and if I do so, I would not have been able to improve the roads infrastructure and other projects across the county. 2, variation of contracts and contract terms. Use of words such as dictated and predetermined in the report without material evidence suggests that raw malice and special political pettiness. Project variations in themselves are not criminal. The report needed to be clear that money was lost or not and provide evidence. Purporting to read a criminal intention is the work of a person on a fishing expedition. 3, contract expiry. The task force identified ongoing projects operating outside the contract period. They cited the dual carriageway whose contract expired in July 2022. Governments exist in perpetuity, and it does not take a task force to renew or extend the contract. It happens with 75% of capital projects in Kenya. That is what I found on Brigadier Misihu Road in 2017. I did not transact in drama and side issues because Midland's contract period had expired. I let the officers in charge initiate a process to renew the contract. That is how we moved from 800 meters done between 2014 to 2017 to 19 kilometers up to Naitiri between 2018 and 2020. In conclusion, one, I want to tell the governor of Bungoma, stop the political witch hunt and concentrate on delivering on your mandate and fulfilling the promises to the people of Bungoma County. You told the people of Bungoma County under the scholarship program that the minimum marks will be 90 marks. The students are going towards doing the exams. We look forward that come January 2023, Students who get marks over the 70 marks will be able to get a scholarship under your government. 2, stop harassing staff and work with and for everybody. In 2017, I worked with your executive for 1.5 years. I never pushed anyone out. In fact, I renewed contracts of some, promoted others, and worked to the end with some of your most loyal staff. It was not a favor to them. It was respect for their service to the people. You do have a duty to respect every staff member. 3, it is laughable for Lusaka to purport to speak about transparency. We all know him for he is. And now that he has invited us into the arena, I'll be issuing a comprehensive statement next week on the state of affairs in the county since the assumed office. 4, to protect my integrity and the integrity of all those involved, I will be taking legal action against the county leadership and members of the task force in their individual capacities as members of the task force. That is the end of my statement. Kujibu mambo yenye gavana wa jimbo la Bungoma aliongea tarehe 9 mwezi wa Novemba 2022, ambapo alikuwa anatoa ripoti zake za task force, ripoti 3 ya education, scholarship na human resource na pending bills audit. Leo nataka kuongelea ripoti 2 peke yake, ile ya scholarship na ya pending bills. Next week nitakuwa napatiana report yangu kwa maneno ya human resource audit, ambapo task force yetu ilitoa. Hii scholarship, kwanza wacha nianze na maneno ya scholarship. Sisi tulianzisha scholarship mwaka wa 2018. Group ya kwanza walifanya mtihani wao 2022, na kwa watoto 500 wa scholarship, watoto karibu 400 walipata alama ya C+ na wameelekea kwenda katika vyuo mbalimbali, wengine wakienda kwa universities katika America na England. Mwezi wa Aprili 2022 tulipata vijana karibu 7,000 ambao waliingia kwa scholarship program yetu ya county ya Bungoma. Hii iliwezesha watoto kufika karibu 10,000 kwa hii scholarship program. Kuangalia mambo mawili matatu yenye gavana alizungumzia kwa ripoti yake ya task force. Ya kwanza kuwa hizo ward committees zote zenye hazikuwa zimetengenezwa kwa kihalali, kuwa mawaziri wangu na ma chief officers walikuwa wanasimamia hizo ma ward committees. Nataka kuambia kila mtu hapa kuwa hiyo ni uongo. Hakuna executive member yoyote mwenye alisimamia ama alichair hizo kamati. La pili, kuwa tuna watoto karibu 7 wenye walikuwa wametransfer, na sisi tulielekea kuandika checks zikienda kwa mashule. Mimi nataka kuambia gavana kuwa sisi checks zote zenye tulitoa zikienda kwa mashule zilitokana na selection process kutoka kwa system ya NEMIS, ambapo watoto wanapata barua zao za selection baada ya KCPE results. Hakuna vile tungeandika checks kwenda kwa mashule bila kupata barua za admission kutoka kwa wazazi na wanafunzi, ambapo wanazitoa kwa system ya NEMIS. La tatu, ambapo ni la muhimu kabisa, yenye alisema shilingi milioni 16 zimepotea. Mimi nataka kuambia Mheshimiwa Ken Makelo Lusaka, ambaye ni gavana wa jimbo la Bungoma, kuwa wanafunzi wote time ya kufanya application wanatupatia admission letter. Hizo admission letters zinatokana na kutoka kwa selection process ambayo inafanywa na national government kutokana kwa NEMIS system. Wakishatupatia hizo barua, sisi tunaandika checks kulingana na admission letters zenye watoto wamepata. Tukishapatiana hizo barua zinaenda, hizo checks zinaenda mashule kadhaa. Tumeangalia shule 2 ambapo tuna hawa wanafunzi wanasema ghost student, shule ya Kibabi na shule ya Kibuku. Tumepata kuwa tumeangalia wanafunzi karibu 5. Tumefanya tu sampling ya wanafunzi 5. Hawa wanafunzi walikuwa initially selected kwenda kwa hizi mashule, lakini baadaye wakatransfer wakaenda mashule zingine. Kama Kibabi, tuna mwanafunzi anaitwa Mark Wanjala Musamali. Anatoka ward ya Naitiri Kabuyefwe, alichukuliwa kwenda Kibabi High School, lakini saizi alienda Malava Boys High School. Alan Kiboi kutoka Elgon Ward alichukuliwa kwenda Kibabi, ameenda St. Joseph's Kangemi High School. Potiphar Kibukurui alichukuliwa kwenda Kibabi High School, anatoka Cheskaki Ward, lakini alienda Cheptais Boys High School. Samuel Wamalwa kutoka West Nalondo Ward alichukuliwa kwenda Kibabi, lakini alienda St. Luke's Kemereli High School. Fred Regan kutoka Bokoli Ward alichukuliwa kwenda Kibabi, lakini saizi yuko Malava Boys. Shule ya Kibuku pia tuliangalia wanafunzi watano. Wa kwanza Cynthia Wafula kutoka Malakisi Kulisiri Ward alichukuliwa Kibuku Girls, lakini alienda na Mawanga Girls High School. Camila Chebet Kirong alichukuliwa Kibuku Girls, anatoka Chebuyuk Ward, alienda Chebukaka Girls High School. Chebkorir Yufamia alichukuliwa Cheskaki, lakini anatoka Cheskaki, alichukuliwa Kibuku Girls, alienda Kimobo Second School. Na wengine, la muhimu ni kuonyesha kuwa hao wanafunzi walichukuliwa kama shule zenye tuliandika kwanza, lakini baadaye wakatransfer wakaenda kama shule zingine. La muhimu ni kufanya reconciliation, kujua hao wanafunzi wako na pesa ngapi bado ziko na hizo shule. La pili, hii maneno ya kusema shilingi milioni 19 zimepotea ni kama kusema kuwa sisi tulikuwa tumelipa school fees yote. Wakati sisi tukienda maneno ya siasa Julai na August, tulikuwa hatujalipa school fees yote kwa mashule. Hao wamekuwa wakifanya ripoti yao, wanatumia hesabu ya 35,000 kwa kila mwanafunzi, na hadi saa hizi tumelipa karibu 20,000, 25,000. Mashule zina balances mingi ambapo sisi kama serikali ya county hatujalipa. La tatu, pia walifanya mistake kubwa kwa shule kama Cardinal Dunga Girls, ambapo wamesema fee structure ni 45,000. Ukweli ni kuwa Cardinal Dunga Girls fee structure ni 35,000. Sasa hao wanafunzi wote wenye wanasema ni ghost students, hao wanafunzi wako hawakuenda kwa shule zenye walikuwa wameulizwa walisema waende, wameenda kwa shule zingine. Inatakikana kama department yetu tufanye reconciliation, alafu tuone hizo pesa zenye ziko to offset na balances zenye ziko hapo. Remarks zangu kwa maneno ya scholarship report. Kwa hii report, cha muhimu mimi nikiangalia ni maneno ya siasa. Kuanza maneno ya siasa, kuhujumu, kuangalia vile mnaweza angamiza mtu, kwa sababu hii program ni program nzuri sana. Na mimi nataka kuambia Mheshimiwa Makelo Lusaka kuwa akitaka kuua hii program, aiue, because he was given the mandate by the people of Bungoma. Kama anataka kudiscontinue scholarship program, let him discontinue the scholarship program. Lakini asianze kupok kitu yenye haiko. Mwisho nikimalizia in conclusion kuwa nataka kuambia kwanza Mheshimiwa Makelo asimamishe maneno ya political witch hunt. Wacha kufuatilia. Mimi wakati nilichukua uongozi August 2017, tulikuwa na officers wako walikuwa kwa executive. Nilifanya kazi nao 1.5 years without kuwafukuza, without kuwaharas. Mimi namkataza asiendelee kuharas staff wa county government ya Bungoma. Aangalie, aige mfano ya Mheshimiwa Rais wa nchi ya Kenya, Mheshimiwa William Samoei Ruto, ambaye amefanya kazi na cabinet ya Mheshimiwa former president huyu Muigai Kenyatta mpaka vile amepata wengine. Hajawafukuza, bado saizi anafanya kazi na principal secretaries wenye walikuwa hiyo wakati. Saizi ameongoja mpaka hao principal secretaries wengi wapya ukuje ndio awachilie hao wengine waende. Hao chief officers wenye wako, these are workers, these are public servants. Lazima wapatiwe nafasi yao wafanye kazi mpaka end of their contract. Wacha kuharass staff wa county government ya Bungoma. Kueleza kwa sababu mimi nataka uwazi na nataka nijue ni kwa nini hawa wamekuja watu wa task force na kuja na porojo. Mimi kuanzia kesho niko na jukwaa wakili wangu awapeleke niende kotini niulize maswali kwa nini hawa wanatoa ripoti ya porojo bila kuangazia ukweli wa maneno. Ya mwisho kwa sababu Mheshimiwa Lusaka amesema yeye anataka kufanya kazi kwa uhuru na haki. Next week nitakuwa napatiana ripoti yangu kwa affairs vile nimeona, kwa sababu nilikuwa nimekaa nyumbani, nilikuwa sitaki maneno ya siasa, lakini kwa sababu ameni-invite kuja kwa siasa, mimi nitarudi na next week nitatoa report kuanzia kwa inauguration, pesa zenye wamefunja katika Bungoma hii. Nitawaambia pesa zenye tuliweka kwa budget na pesa zenye walitumia kwa kuvunja kwa inauguration yenye walifanya huko Kibabi. Niko tayari kuelezea watu wa Bungoma ukweli kazi yenye nafanya hapa katika kaunti ya Bungoma.